We begin in Russia, where the Kremlin is yet to confirm the death of the leader of the Wagner mercenary group. Yevgeny Prigozhin was listed as being among 7 passengers and the 3 crew of a private jet that crashed north of Moscow. Russia's aviation agency says there were no survivors. 8 bodies have been recovered so far. Crash investigators haven't confirmed that Prigozhin's body has been found or that he was killed. The crash comes 2 months after the longtime ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin led the short-lived Wagner mutiny against military leaders in Moscow. Laura Khan recaps the latest developments surrounding Prigozhin's reported death.
This is the moment that the Embraer aircraft jet came hurtling from the sky in the Tver region north of Moscow. All 10 people, including 3 crew members, were killed. Russia's aviation agency has confirmed that the Wagner military group boss Yevgeny Prigozhin was among the passengers flying from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Local reports state 2 loud bangs were heard, and multiple videos posted on social media appear to show the jet on fire. This flight radar map shows the moment it disappeared. The remains of all 10 bodies have been retrieved from the site, and a criminal investigation is underway.
The main investigation department of the Investigative Committee of the Russian Federation initiated a criminal case on the fact of an aviation accident in the Tver region on the grounds of a crime under Article 263 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation.
Just 2 days before, Prigozhin shared his first video since his aborted mutiny against Russia's armed forces in June. Russian emergency services are looking at 2 theories: a possible explosion on the plane, and they're probing into the region's air defense systems. Laura Khan, Al Jazeera.
And Al Jazeera's Amin Dergami is at the scene of the crash in the Tver region.
We can confirm that 2 vehicles arrived at the crash site to transport the dead. The Russian authorities confirmed earlier they've retrieved 8 bodies. 2 remain missing as the area is heavily forested and has many lakes and rivers. Cars returned, as you can see, to continue the search. Parts of the plane were found 2 kilometres away, but it's difficult to complete the search quickly. The Russian authorities have confirmed Prigozhin was on board the flight. The Russian Aviation Federation released the passenger list earlier. 7 are Wagner members with 3 aircrew. Until now, the investigation team has not confirmed that Prigozhin's body has been found or that he was killed in the crash.
Well, let's go to our correspondent, Rob McBride. He's joining us live from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. So what's been the reaction there to Prigozhin's death, Rob, given his role in the war?
Yeah, there's been very little in the way of official reaction. Soon after the news broke here, and people are following this, as you would expect, very closely, we had a statement from Mikhailo Podolyak. He's a representative of the president's office, saying that this shows that disloyalty equals death, in his words. I think generally here in Ukraine, there will be very few tears shed for Yevgeny Prigozhin, given his track record with his Wagner group of these brutal assaults that they waged for many months on the Eastern Front, especially around the city of Bakhmut. For the administration here, for the military, I think the interest now comes is what this will herald inside Russia itself. Does this now start a new round or new episode of instability? People have been following any possible reaction from the Wagner units, the Wagner units that are sitting up in their camps north of here in Belarus, other Wagner units who may have returned to Russia itself. Whether they are going to be taking any action, any retaliation. There have been some chatter on online chatter from people purporting to be Wagnerites threatening retaliation, but it's difficult to verify those actual clips. So that would be the concern for people here, and also for the concern for people, the Russian military. They remember, of course, the disruption that was resulted from the Wagner group taking over the city of Rostov-on-Don, which is the main Russian hub for the military coming in and going out of Ukraine. That has a very debilitating effect on the morale of Russian soldiers sitting in trenches along the front line here in Ukraine. For that reason, Russia doesn't want a repeat of that. And for the very same reason, obviously, Ukraine would like to see a return of that sort of disruption.
All right, Rob, in Ukraine marking Independence Day as the country continues to be attacked.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably of more concern on people's minds here on this day. It's Independence Day, and obviously it is richly symbolic coming in the middle of this raging war threatening that very independence. It's the second time that Ukraine has marked Independence Day since the full-scale invasion by Russia. We are not expecting any full-scale events to take place as we have in previous years. I mean, the concern for the authorities here is that if they do stage large-scale events with many people, if there are any attacks, then obviously that could result in many casualties. So it will be fairly low-key, fairly muted, but it will be celebrated and marked here in Kyiv and cities throughout Ukraine. Nonetheless, there has been a message from Vladimir Zelensky, the Russian president, a video message saying this is the day of the free, he says, the strong and the dignified. The concern is that Russia may also try to mark this day with renewed attacks. So the air defences and the authorities here very much on their guard.
All right, Rob, thank you very much for that. Rob McBride, live in Kyiv.